Auckland is a diverse city. This comes in the form of landscape, nationalities, language, among a range of other factors. One that I haven't mentioned before is the cost of living. For first-home buyers, finding a good value suburb is everything. You want to get on the housing ladder, but not at the expense of foregoing your lifestyle. To do so, often first-home buyers need to look beyond their rented suburb to find a house within budget. In this video, I'll compare the cost of living from all corners of Auckland, focusing on those with new build properties under $1 million within most budgets for first-home buyers. From the north, we'll look at Red Beach. In the east, Flatbush. The south, Takanini. The west, Hobsonville, and central, Onehunga. My analysis will first compare two-bedroom new build properties from Fletcher Living in each suburb. I'll then look at the cost and time to commute to the CBD via both public transport and driving. Third, I'll compare the prices of grocery essentials from the nearest Pak N Save between each suburb. So without further ado, let's get into it. First, let's compare the cost of a newly built two-bedroom terrace property in each of the 5 suburbs. Keeping things simple by just looking at the purchase prices, we can see that South, East and West Auckland have the lowest prices, all sitting below $760,000. East comes in with the lowest price at $699,000. However, the only two-bedroom homes for sale were Kiwi build properties, so it's likely at a discount to market value. On the more expensive end of the scale, the northern suburb of Red Beach has a purchase price of $829,000. As expected, new builds in the central city are the most expensive, with Onehunga going for $899,000. If instead we look at the price per square metre of house and land, the East Auckland property has the lowest house cost and the second lowest land cost. Property to the south is similarly priced. Moving on from Fletcher Living properties, I looked at the median valuations in each suburb. The issue, however, using these figures is that the nature of the property in each suburb is very different. For example, Hobsonville has a large quantity of smaller format houses, Flatbush has larger format homes, and Onehunga has older properties. Taking these values with a grain of salt, however, we can see the south has the lowest median prices, down at $920,000. West's Hobsonville, Central's Onehunga, and North's Red Beach all had a median value of between 1.2 and 1.3 million. And finally, the East was highest placed at 1.31 million. So to summarize these varied figures, if you're a first home buyer, definitely check out Kiwi build properties as they offer the greatest value, as we saw here. Though Flatbush had the lowest cost for a new two-bedroom property, it had the highest median homes valuation. Outside of that, in the south of Auckland, you'll find the lowest prices. Now that the house is out of the way, what is the time and monetary cost to commute to the city? Starting with the time to commute from the central suburb of Onehunga, it is the fastest at 17 minutes. Taking 3 minutes longer is Hobsonville, despite the distance being double thanks to the quick Western Ring route. 4 minutes longer than Hobsonville is the commute from Flatbush out east, followed by Takanini taking 2 minutes longer. And finally Red Beach taking 29 minutes total, and with the longest distance of 34 kilometers. But of course, not only is there a time cost, but also a monetary cost to living further away from the city. Each suburb also has its own fuel prices. As of the 10th of May, and according to Gaspy, the lowest priced regular 91 fuel was in Hobsonville at $2.29 a litre at Gull. Just outside Hobsonville at Westgate, this was even lower at Pak N Save Westgate at $2.14. The highest prices were found in Onehunga, with their Gull sitting at $2.50 per litre. If we now use these fuel prices and the distances to the city from each suburb, we can work out the cost to commute to the city daily. For this comparison, I will use a Mazda CX-5 as the basis, using 6.9 litres per 100 kilometres travelled. Driving from Onehunga to the city and back will cost just $3.81. The next cheapest is Hobsonville, coming in at $6.97. Flatbush was just behind, while Takanini and Red Beach were around the $10 mark. So it comes as no surprise, living centrally is the quickest and usually the cheapest when it comes to driving to the city. But of course, travelling by car is only one way of getting to the city. The other is public transport, such as buses, trains, and ferries. For this evaluation, I'll assume that we leave around 7 AM on a weekday, are indifferent to various types of transport, and will arrive at Commercial Bay. As you can see, the central suburb of Onehunga is not only the cheapest, but also the fastest by 14 minutes. Takanini in the south has the advantage of a quick train service right to the suburb. Flatbush out east is the second cheapest service. However, it is the longest journey by 14 minutes, as the suburb is 17 stops away from the train station, then a 40-minute ride, and there isn't a direct bus line. So clearly, and not as much of a surprise, living centrally makes all forms of commute to the city cheaper and faster. At this point I considered the cost of utilities, but of course there isn't much of a difference in costs. All water resources are maintained centrally by Watercare, Power is still delivered by mains, and most of Auckland now runs on fibre internet. Aside from utilities, there's another large cost to homeowners that can often be overlooked, and that is property rates. Assuming a house has a capital value of $1 million, here are all the relative rates between all corners of Auckland. As you can see, Hobsonville out west has the lowest rates bill at about 2.3k, while those living in Central and East Auckland pay around $200 more each year. The largest contributor to the difference is the cost of rubbish collection. Hobsonville also benefits from having a lower urban residential transition rate. North is close behind, owing to the fact that they have a single charge for rubbish and don't have food scraps collection. Next up, I'll be comparing the cost of 15 everyday goods in each corner of the city. To do this, I'll be using the nearest Pak N Save, which all 5 suburbs have one nearby. In the north, Silverdale, south, Papakura, east, Ormiston, west, Westgate, and central, Royal Oak. These 15 grocery items are often used by the New Zealand Herald for its supermarket price comparisons. However, I've had to make a couple tweaks as each supermarket has a different range of stocked items. First up is 2 litres of Anchor milk, cheapest by 17 cents in East Auckland. Next is Vogel's bread, cheapest again in East Auckland by 31 cents. Free-range eggs are lowest in North Auckland by 90 cents a dozen. Chicken comes in at the same price across all corners of Auckland. Whittaker's chocolate came in 1 cent cheaper in North, East and West Auckland. Bananas were the same price across Auckland. Bagged iceberg lettuce is priced vastly different across Auckland, cheapest in the North and East by 50%. Broccoli is the same price everywhere. Loose red tomatoes are cheapest in North and South Auckland by $1 a kilo. A kilo of Colby cheese is the same price everywhere. Toilet paper is lowest priced in Central Auckland by 19 cents. Butter is lowest by 20 cents in Central and Northern Auckland. Greek yogurt is lowest everywhere by 60 cents except in the North. And finally, coffee is lowest priced in North and East Auckland by at least $1. By taking out all the items not in stock at all the supermarkets, East Auckland is cheapest at $85.08, while West Auckland is the priciest at $88.56, 4% more expensive. Both North and East Auckland had the sharpest price for 10 out of the 15 items compared. So if you want the cheapest groceries in town, East Auckland or even North might be the best for you. And for people in West Auckland, at least you have Costco. All corners of Auckland have different costs to consider that go beyond the cost of the home itself. As expected, when you're buying a home, there is a trade-off between the cost of a property and its proximity to the city. It might cost more to live centrally, however this will come with the benefit of travel costs and time being lower. What I got out of the study is that no matter where you choose to buy, there are clear pros and cons. If you live centrally, you are closer to the city, however houses cost more and petrol is substantially more expensive. If you live out west, your rates, property and fuel is cheaper, however groceries look to be slightly more pricey. East has lower priced properties and groceries, but the time to commute using public transport is the worst in the study. North also has a long commute, both by car and public transport, but has among the lowest rates and groceries. And finally, South Auckland has fairly priced homes and good public transport links, but it can be costly to drive back and forth to the city each day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please make sure to subscribe to my channel down below to see more content just like this in the personal finance space. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to catching you on the next one. Cheers.